Just a Nazgul. Well, that's totally fine with me. Go ahead and try to counter that. They are holding up 1 blue. Aww. Intro. Hey there, good buddies, and welcome back to Poor Mana's Magic, a place where the wild cards never rain on our parade. Today we're taking a look at another Midweek Magic Lord of the Rings Constructed deck. Now, Midweek Magic Constructed means that we can only play cards from the Lord of the Rings set. And today, we're really trying to emphasize Gandalf the Grey. Now, Gandalf is a 3 mana, 1 blue, 1 red legendary avatar wizard that says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you can tap or untap a target permanent, deal 3 damage to each opponent, copy a target instant or sorcery, or put Gandalf on top of its owner's library. Now, with such an emphasis on instant and sorceries, we are playing all the instants and sorceries in blue and red that make sense for us. We are playing in the 1 slot Birthday Escape for a little card draw, Stern Scolding, which counters a target creature spell with power or toughness 2 or less. In the 2 slot, we are playing some more creature counters. We're playing Soothing of Smeagol, which returns a target non-token creature. We're playing Smite the Deathless, a 3 damage to target creature spell that also exiles it. Even though it's counting this as a 3 mana, we're playing 1 copy of Spiteful Banditry, an X and 2 red enchantment that when it enters deals X damage to each creature. And whenever 1 or more creatures your opponents control die, you create a treasure token. In the 3 slot, we are playing Scroll of Isildur, a 2 mana 1 blue enchantment saga. And the first chapter says that you gain control of up to 1 target artifact. The second chapter allows you to tap up to 2 target creatures and put a stun counter. And the third chapter lets you draw a card for each tapped creature that target opponent controls. Now, we're also playing Treason of Isengard, which is going to put a target instant or sorcery back on top of our library. We're playing Quarrel's End for a little more card draw, Display of Power to copy some instant and sorcery spells, especially in the late game. We're playing 1 copy of Flame of Anor, which, if you control a wizard, you may choose 2 of the following, but otherwise choose 1. You can either draw 2 cards, destroy a target artifact, or deal 5 damage to a target creature. And we are playing 4 copies, full set, of Gandalf's Sanction, a sorcery spell that says Gandalf's Sanction deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So what we're really trying to do in the early game is draw into some more interaction, find some interaction, counter some spells, return some things that we weren't able to counter, exile some things that we also weren't able to counter, maybe clear a board, do a little bit of graveyard recursion with Treason of Isengard to get some of that interaction back. And as we build into the later game, maybe turns 7, 8, 9, maybe we have 5, 6, 7, 8 different instant and sorceries in our graveyard. That's where Gandalf's Sanction comes into play. We can take out either a token and deal a lot of damage to face, or we can take out a bigger creature. In the 4 slot, we are playing the other kind of Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, a legendary avatar wizard with flash that allows you to cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. And whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Gandalf, as your ring bearer, you get to draw a card. We're also playing 2 copies of Press the Enemy, which allows you to return a target spell or an online permanent you control to its owner's hand, and you can also cast a lesser mana value spell from your hand without paying its cost. We are playing 1 copy of the One Ring because it is such a dominant force in this kind of constructed meta. And we are playing in the 5 slot Saruman the White, which lets you amass orcs every time you cast a second spell. We're playing Horses of the Breenan, which allows you to return some target creatures. And in the last slot, we're playing Fear, Fire, and Foes, kind of a token creature board wipe. So this is our Gandalf's Fireworks deck. Let's jump into the Alchemy play queue and see how it does. Okay, on the play, we have all of our lands. We have a Soothing of Smeagol, some interaction. We have our Gandalf and our Saruman. So we'll go ahead and keep this, see if we can ramp up there. Now we'll play a mountain turn 1, just to make our opponent think about playing a small creature. Okay, mountain from our opponent as well, so we'll go ahead and play out our island, hold up Soothing of Smeagol. In turn 3, we can either Treason of Isengard. Ooh, too bad. Okay, we'll go ahead and return their Horde Master. See what we draw off the top. Scroll of Isildur, not too shabby. I think for this one though, we'll just play Treason of Isengard. We'll put Soothing back on top of our library, amass some orcs. and keep on keeping. Next turn, we can do Scroll of Isildur if it is another goblin that comes down, and that will allow us to tap some creatures the following turn. Ooh, they do take out our mass token. This is okay. We'll go ahead and play Scroll of Isildur. They may not play any creatures down this turn, but if that's the case, then we're going to gain a tempo advantage. They do play down their Horde Master. We'll go ahead and tap it, put a stun counter on top of it. This is probably not a terrible time to go look for our second blue mana, so we'll go ahead and do that. Make sure we keep one up for Soothing of Smeagol. Get that island, and we'll pass the turn. Another Horde Master hits the board. We'll go ahead and return that. And so this next turn, we'll draw an extra card off of Scroll of Isildur. Paladin GN goes ahead and gives up. GG's. Okay, on the draw against Mia, 1, 3, 4. We have our lands, we have some early interaction. Scroll of Isildur in hand, be good. Display of Power, I think, should really be a one of in this deck, if in this deck at all, but we'll keep it. Go ahead and hold up our Birthday Escape. Sauron Frodo's Bane. So this is going to be a Temptation build, probably black-white, if I had to guess. We'll go ahead and try to find some removal for this Frodo. Nothing yet. Probably just level up Frodo at this point. Very nice. Oh, or not. They play out a Took Reaper. Interesting. Okay. So a pretty good turn 3 for Scroll of Isildur coming up. We have Glorious Gale, which can counter a creature spell if they have one. I would guess they're just going to... No, still don't level up Frodo. That's interesting. Wonder what they have next. Nothing from opponent, so we'll go ahead and play out our scroll. They could return this to hand with a reprieve. Probably a pretty good thing. They do not. So next turn we'll be able to tap both of their halflings into a Nazgul. Why am I not surprised? So Nazgul's growing. They have quite a bit of power up on the board right now. We can go ahead and tap their Frodo and the Nazgul just to save us a little bit of damage taking on the next turn. So we can play out a Shire Terrace. Go ahead and crack that for another mountain, probably. And maybe another island. Yeah, we'll do an island. We'll hold up Glorious Gale, and we'll see where that gets us. 1 mana on. Are they going to Golems bite their own creature? Maybe untap it with that 1 white something of Orthanc? Ooh, Faramir Field Commander. Definitely a good target for our Glorious Gale. We'll counter that one. We will be tempted by the ring. They do attack in with their Took Reaper, so we'll be able to draw 3 cards here. Hopefully finding some sort of removal spell would be great. One of our sweepers would be even better. Not so. Okay. Well, we can actually press the enemy here, return the Took Reaper, or do we want to return the Nazgul? I almost say we want to keep the Nazgul on the board. We could also play Gandalf, but I have a feeling that's going to be killed next turn, and we want to hold something up alongside a Gandalf so that we can get some value out of it. So why don't we press the enemy? We will return the Nazgul since it costs the most. And in doing that, we will play Gandalf Sanction. Yep. We will kill their Frodo. I have a feeling they have something up here. Yep. Deal 1 damage to face. And now we have a little bit of room to breathe. Yep, Nazgul comes down again. Does a little bit more tempting. They're now going to be able to draw and discard with their Ring Bearer. We'll be down to 9. Opponent holding up 2 mana currently. Seems like they really do like their hand. Yep, Golem's Bite. Okay. Stern Scolding. Okay. So now I kind of like the idea of playing down a Gandalf and holding up a Stern Scolding. See if they're playing a 2 mana removal spell. If they are, we'll be a little sad. But I'm hoping they're only playing Golem's Bite. Okay, nothing on Gandalf that turn. If they try to play another Nazgul, we can hit that. Claim the Precious. Sure. We really needed to draw into our board wipe this turn. So we'll get one more shot at it. Yep, we'll go ahead and counter that. Don't need another Nazgul on the board. Birthday Escape. Not what I want to see. We will hold up a Display of Power in case we get a bounce spell. Ooh, Gandalf Sanction. That is actually pretty good. So we can go ahead and play Gandalf Sanction. We will go full control. Gandalf Sanction the Nazgul. We will spend one of these, one of these, one of these. We will Display of Power, copy our Gandalf, our Sanction. We will take out the Took Reaper, deal a lot of damage to face, and we are now still in this game. Not too shabby. Now we could have sequenced our removal a little bit better and take out the Nazgul first, but I think it's probably okay. So 2 Glorious Gales. We'll go ahead and crack our Sharteris. Whatever they try to cast here that would threaten us is going to take a little bit of finessing for them, because we have all the counter magic we could hope at this point. All of the Ring, totally fine. Opponent needs more creatures. A 1 ring, ooh, is pretty iffy from us. I think we'll go ahead and hold on to that. We don't have any life gain in this deck, so at this point, 1 ring is super iffy. Gandalf. Excellent. Excellent draw. Okay. So Gandalf will come down, and then for any spell that we counter that tempts us, we'll be able to draw a card off Gandalf. So we'll go ahead and play that. They might have some removal here. They do not. Stern Scolding, even better. We'll go ahead, get some damage in. And there is a possibility that we pull ahead here. We have the ability to stall their board if we run out of counter spells. No, thank you, sir. We can always play the 1 ring, gain some protection, and buy ourselves some time. Claim the Precious. No! Okay. So back to square one. They just happen to have all the things. Hoping they continue to not draw into much. At this point, it might be worth playing out our 1 ring. We'll try to draw 1 card. Hopefully we can find something interesting. Okay, so we found our enchantment removal. We're now on a 3-turn clock. Not my favorite, but I think we had to try. Treason of Isengard. So we will go ahead and do this. We will get back a Gandalf's Sanction, or yeah, we'll get back a Gandalf's Sanction. Mass. So we can deal, interesting, to Controller. Okay. We'll see how this goes. We're on a pretty quick clock. Golem's Bite. Ah, they do indeed. Okay. It's a little unfortunate. We probably won't make it across the finish line. Might have been a little greedy going with the one ring, but I feel like the more turns opponent has to draw into something, the worse for us. We'll continue to take some damage, and they're probably just going to wait us out at this point. Certainly do. Okay, so we'll go ahead and draw 2 more. Try to come up with something out of our hand. Nope, nothing yet. Put this down. Oof. There was a way to... We'll go ahead, and we're going to die next turn no matter what opponent does. And because this is a sorcery spell, we'll go ahead and go out with Style. So this is one of the reasons why the One Ring can be really, really strong in the right deck, but if you play it out a little later in the game, especially if you've been against an aggro deck, it can cost you. Okay, on the play against Darth Scion, we have our mana, we have some card draw, we have some removal, interaction. All we need is one of our bigger creatures for the payoff. Go ahead, start the Ring Tempting. Display of Power, okay. Go ahead and hold up Glorious Gale this turn. Next turn we can play down a Shire Terrace. Play Birthday Escape maybe? No? Okay. Shire Terrace it is. We will hold on for one more turn, just in case we need to remove something or counter something. No Nazgul. Okay. In that case, we'll go ahead and crack our Terrace, get another blue mana. Another island. We have our 4th mana out now. We can hold up 2 removals, so I'm going to go ahead and play Birthday Escape. See what we get. Another island. Not the worst. We could Treason of Isengard. No reason to. Just see what else they have. Nothing yet out of opponent's hand. Be a Shieldred. Do it. Just a Nazgul. Well, that's totally fine with me. Go ahead and try to counter that. They are holding up 1 blue. Aww. Dimir can't get their Nazgul on the board. That's too bad. Okay. On the draw against Rabanito, we have Birthday Escape, we have Glorious Gale, we have Treason of Isengard, 2 blue mana, lets us play most of these things. And I'm assuming we will at some point draw into our red source for Flame of Anor. Turn 1 planes from opponent. Go ahead and use Birthday Escape. Draw a card. Gandalf, very good. Now, Press the Enemy is going to be a really good combo with our Treason of Isengards. Impassioned Orator from opponent means that we're up against a Lifegain deck. Go ahead and counter their payoff card in Hallowed Priest. We'll take 2. We will go ahead and Treason of Isengard, bring back a Birthday Escape. Pass 2. Create a blocker for that Impassioned Orator, make them think twice about coming back in. Oh, second Hallowed Priest off the top. Not too shabby, not too shabby. So we do have a Press the Enemy just for this reason. Go ahead and Birthday Escape. We'll get our little Orc tempted. We can now play out our Smite the Deathless, which we will do before Hallowed Priest starts getting too big. Go ahead and offer the trade here. We have another Treason of Isengard in hand. Oh man. Bounty of Riches here. So we'll actually drop the Shire Terrace. I think we can draw into another land here pretty soon. Opponent takes it. A little surprising. If they play something... Ooh, Pacifism. Oh man, okay. So, nothing else going on for our Orc army. We will flash in Gandalf and try to surprise them. A little ambush, never hurt. Opponent looks like they're stuck on 2 mana. Not going to be good for them. Go ahead and block this. Wouldn't be surprised to see concession. And now that we have our wizard in play, Flame of Anor allows us to choose 2 of the options. So we can draw 2, we can deal 5 damage to a creature. That's looking pretty good to me. So we'll go ahead and do those. Draw 2, deal 5. And we will keep this train going. So we'll go ahead, get in with Gandalf, hold up a Soothing of Smeagol. We're really not in any rush. There you go, they get their 3rd, Plains. What we do have to look out for is a... this might be one of the starter decks. So what we do have to look out for is a Planeswalker in a Johnny. Something that is going to hang around and create kind of long-term value. Ooh, so we'll wait to fire this off until end step. There we go. We will make Gandalf our ring bearer. We'll go ahead and smite the Deathless here, just to open up a little bit more of a path. We'll go ahead and attack in with Gandalf. Draw, discard, that's fine. And we might have actually Birthday Escaped first, just to get that extra 3 damage off of the 4th chapter of our ring, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and also Treason of Isengard, get back our Flame of Anor. Go. And now you can see how the recursion is really going to start paying off. Most of the creatures they're going to put down are going to be able to be returned or smote. Okay, that's not too bad. We will go ahead and... It's too bad Flame of Anor doesn't hit enchantments. So we'll go ahead, we'll draw 2, deal 5. Draw 2, deal 5. And now Gandalf is really taking over. We drew into a Saruman. That's really, really good. We'll go ahead and attack in. Draw a discard. We will drop our island. No reason not to play Birthday Escape again. So we'll do that. We still have our Press the Enemy. Ooh, very nice. Okay. Lay down that. We have Gandalf's Sanction up, which is going to be really, really nice off of their Charm Stray. They do play it down. And because of Gandalf, we can play our sorcery spells at instant speed. Go ahead and pass. We'll go ahead and hit them with this, and that will probably be game. Opponent, a very good sport about the whole thing. I appreciate them sticking around. GG's Rabinito. Okay. So we had a few good games. There was definitely some promise to this deck, but I think there are some improvements that could lean into some of the mechanics a little bit better. So the first thing I'm noticing is that we don't have any early creatures, which means that whenever we do get to one of our payoff cards, like the Gandalfs, they're getting removed very quickly. So I want to add some more Treasons of Isengard. Now this card was really good at getting back some of our stalling, like Soothing of Smeagol, not the smoothing, that's a little weird, and Smite the Deathless, and Flame of Anor, which I think was probably our best card. Display of Power didn't really come in, so we'll go ahead and take that out. I would, if I had the wild cards, maybe play a full set of Flame of Anor. It's a really great removal spell at 5 damage. It also lets you draw. Very, very nice kind of toolkit-like card. Also, the combo between Flame of Anor and Treason of Isengard is pretty crazy to me, especially for one of these being commons. Being able to create a 2/2 token to bring something back you know is going to be effective on your next turn, really, really solid. Really surprised by that. I think one ring in this deck isn't worth the card draw. I think being able to not remove it with another copy is pretty bad. If you have 2/1 rings, if you have either crafted multiples or want to craft multiples, maybe for one of the other formats, I think that's fine. Just make sure you have multiple copies so that when you start getting those burden counters fairly high, you can replace them. So we're going to go ahead and cut that. I think Press the Enemy was, and continues to be, in theory, a pretty good card. This would let you deal with kind of a big board. It lets you, remove a non-land permanent, which is really good, and also maybe cast a card draw spell or another removal spell. I don't think we got to see that, but I do like having it around. I think Horses of the Breenan is a little too big and a little too late. I think I would rather have more of the 2 and 3 slot cards to kind of do that early interaction. I think Fear Fire Foes, not as relevant. I think Spiteful Banditry is actually the much better version of that, especially because it does give us a little bit of ramp. Speaking of that ramp, I think we could also lean into some of the blue-red Ring Temptation mechanic with Bilbo Retired Burglar. Now, if this comes down and sticks around, we can start to create some treasure tokens. We can maybe get a Golem's Bite or 2 out of the opponent's hand before our more important creatures come down. So I actually kind of like the idea of having 2, maybe 1 or 2 of those in the deck. I think with Birthday Escape, we probably have enough card draw. I do like Quarrel's End though, especially because it creates a human token. So we're going to go ahead and drop the Scroll of Isildur, although I think at the 3 slot we could either add more scrolls or add more quarrels, but I don't think we need both. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out Scroll, since it doesn't really have a very effective Chapter 1. I'm going to cut down a Stern Scolding. I'll keep the Glorious Gales. I would really like to add a Soothing of Smeagol. I think it's a little bit more frustrating for opponents. And then I'm going to cut out Gandalf's Sanction. Now, this is a really good card in general, but if you have these Flame of Anors in the deck, that I think is going to do most of the heavy lifting. So this is the deck as I would take it into the Midweek Magic event. You have the 4 Birthday Escapes, 1 Stern Scolding, a few Glorious Gales, Soothing of Smeagols, Smite the Deathlesses, and then you're really leaning into this Treason of Isengard recursion. You're leaning into your Bilbo, you're leaning into your Flame of Anor to start, dealing damage, drawing some cards, catching up. And then that should let you get to some of your bigger payoff cards in Gandalf, and Saruman. So I hope that you enjoyed the gameplay in this deck as much as I enjoyed playing it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, as it really does help my small channel grow. And I will see you next time.